Explained by the Billy Meier contacts. Mysteries, myths, legends, conspiracy theories, historical inaccuracies, and more. Compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Extraterrestrials, Reptilians, Conspiracy Theory, Reptilian Conspiracy Theory. David Icke. Contact Report 031.
Recently, it was explained to me that in various governments of our Earth, extraterrestrial intelligences are carrying on their activities and are even permanently employed there. What is this all about? Can we believe these statements?
You call such things fairy tales.
So this means that there are no star people working in our Earth governments?
That's what it says. If these statements were true, then peace would have come to Earth a long time ago, and earthly humanity would have been taught the truth by the governments.
But it is said that these extraterrestrials would secretly and undetected participate in or with government agencies.
This is also not so, which your logic itself can confirm. If it were really so, then within only a few days no authority, no government, and no military power would hunt down our ships, because we actually have all possibilities to nip such things in the bud. If we were to be active in any governmental bodies, there would be peace on Earth. So all the claims are nothing more than lies, when such things are claimed by us or by any other extraterrestrials. Such lies are often due to religious machinations of some sectarian elements and of unscrupulous fantasists, liars, swindlers, and frauds.
Contact Report 441.
Around 22 years have now passed since you and Quetzal told me privately that you had comprehensive cognitions in regard to terrestrial UFOs, and the massacre of animals and alleged abductions which were disguised as the shoddy efforts of extraterrestrials. You said thereby that, in regard to this, involved in these machinations are governments, the military, as well as industrial businesses and powerful ones of finance, which constitute a special group, to which still smaller groups are also related. At that time you promised that you would officially explain more about that when the time is ripe for that. Can one now speak publicly about that?
With the named group, it concerns a worldwide branching from governments, the military, industrial groups, secret services, paramilitary, and powerful ones of finance, as you correctly said. Those in the know and contributors are only certain elements of the same, who profit greatly, financially and power politically, from their secret machinations, for which reason the entire powers of the government, military, and industrial, as well as finance, are not involved in the situation and are also not informed in regard to this. The group is not organized. As such, rather is only a loose collection, whereby their interests, however, have a common form, which already since the 1920s was designed to operate a continuous, ingenious, large-scale disinformation campaign regarding the question of extraterrestrial life. The group, which is split into many small groups, has many kinds of technical possibilities at their disposal, which they employ for their evil and human misleading purposes. That started with technologies of electromagnetism to do with precision electronics and computer engineering, up to and including apparatuses through which brainwashing and the programming and altering of consciousness is evoked in humans. They even have back-engineered beam ships at their disposal, whereby, in certain contexts, even anti-gravity finds application. It has also occurred many times that premeditated abductions of Earth humans by extraterrestrials and the massacre of animals has been and is faked by this group. That stands partly also in connection with those illusionary and schizophrenic visions and apparent experiences of those who believe that they have had or have these kinds of real experiences. Also, wrong information and falsified pictures of alleged extraterrestrial flying devices is strategically circulated worldwide, whereby, according to our investigations, about 98% of all false pictures, films, videos, and false information is directed at moving the Earth humans to angst and terror of extraterrestrials and to engender hate and thoughts of revenge in the Earth humans. Therefore, in this way, angst, terror, and hate is stirred up against all life foreign to Earth. Especially films for cinema and television serve this purpose, as also, however, do many books which are constructed on lies and untruths and are written partly by experts in psychology and psychiatry. All this nonsense sells very well to the Earth humans because many on the search for the effective truth trust and believe this false information and these films and pictures. Angst, horror, terror, hate, and revenge always sell well, while the truth appears too banal and therefore appears uninteresting as well as not worth knowing. Only the fantastic and unreal find a place in the interests of Earth humans. 35. However, precisely that is the launching platform for the infamous machinations of the worldwide group, because through disinformation and fear-mongering in regard to the malicious foreigners to Earth, the entire group, which reaches right around the world, derives horrendous advantages of a financial, governmental power, military power, as well as an economic form. The entire war, electronics and weapons industries, and so forth, thereby gain an enormous boost. Yet, in the worldwide group, secret paramilitary units also exist as smaller groups which carry out the same kind of operations which, however, are mostly controlled by the worldwide group. In particular, these small groups carry out premeditated abductions which are credited ostensibly to the extraterrestrials, as well as, however, also simulated appearances of alleged extraterrestrial flying craft, which are then collectively declared to be extraterrestrial UFO appearances, and are often observed, photographed, and filmed by many people. Thereby the illusion of an ostensible extraterrestrial abduction or observation of extraterrestrial flying devices is evoked. What is further to say about that is that, in this worldwide group, with all the small groups who partly also work autonomously, there exists a proper UFO trade and a subculture in regard to animal massacres and abductions and so forth. The entire thing is secretively financed through governments, the military, industrial groups, and financially powerful ones who are interested in angst, terror, and hate being stirred up to their highest forms in regard to the alleged evil extraterrestrial foreigners, because they can thereby gain gigantic financial profit and advantage. It is on this basis that, in every regard, from this group, only stories, cinema and television films and observations of UFOs will be accepted and profitably exploited, which are based on everything negative and, as is becoming proverbial with the Earth humans, on the malicious and aggressive nature of the extraterrestrials. Only that which evokes angst, fear, and terror, as well as engenders hate and revenge, is accepted by the group and exploited worldwide in order to obtain enormous profit with it. Conversely, in addition to that, everything which is good and positive is vehemently slandered and is designated as a swindle, lie, and deception, as is the case with you and us, since, in keeping with the interests of the group, we are not permitted to exist, and you are not permitted to be in contact with us. Rather, you must be a liar and a fraud. So, from the group and their small groups, the Earth humans will be served up deliberately false and fear-influencing stories in regard to extraterrestrial UFOs and foreigners to Earth and their alleged horrifying machinations like, for example, painful examination contacts and animal massacres, along with falsified encounters with alleged extraterrestrials. along with profit. The whole matter also serves deeply based psychological propaganda in order to insult forms of life who are foreign to Earth and to brand them as malicious beings and to create angst, hate, revenge, and hysteria because great financial means will be thereby freed up, which serve research for the production of innovative and futuristic weapons of all kinds. Therefore, in these Earth humans, in regard to the extraterrestrial, an enemy will be psychologically, deliberately created which does not exist and which will, in a manner, be made into a malicious being such that the Earth humans, in their angst, will be driven to freeing up horrendous sums in order to therewith manufacture weapons against the alleged malicious invaders. Also, with these acts, various groups play off against each other, which, however, is part of a well-thought-out plan which is carried out and implemented by secret services, psychoterrorists, espionage groups, and treacherous disinformation agents, and which is underpinned by false information regarding UFOs and alleged extraterrestrials. Additionally, belonging to this plan is the invention of an imaginary extraterrestrial enemy, as well as a danger emerging from this, an enemy, and a danger which naturally will have to be fought. The infamy is thereby that, first of all, everything is made ridiculous because the concerned abductees, examinees, chance contactees, and UFO observers can provide no evidence for their experiences which would withstand a real examination. Then comes the second fact, which exists in the fact that angst, terror, hate and feelings of revenge is produced in the Earth humans, whereby then the weapons industry can be built up, and indeed especially in regard to futuristic weapons, of which the normal Earth humans have no idea, and of which they do not ever dare to dream. The entirety is thereby a well-thought-out psychological network on which the progress of the entire weapons industry and the power of the military, of the federal leadership, the finance sharks, and the industry businesses, as well as the secret services, can be built up ever further. To this end, angst, terror, hysteria, hate, and revenge is sown in regard to all foreigners from outer space. So the Earth humans become duped and financially exploited by the responsible ones of this dangerous group and their small groups, and are deliberately driven to abhor and to hate the extraterrestrial foreigners. Corresponding cinema and television films serve as especially suitable means for that. The foreigner angst, respectively, alien angst, which is thereby produced, surpasses all normal angst, and the responsible ones of the group know that precisely, for which reason they can also thereby calculate that all necessary finances flow to them, which they require for their weapon research, their weapon manufacture, their leading of wars and desires for power, as well as for unrealistic cinema and TV films which demonize the Earth strangers. The creation of a supposed threat from extraterrestrials as well as the alien angst is, for them, a profitable matter which is operated under the shabby cloak of a federal, respectively, country security, and of world peace. For the entire machinations of the group, the meanest machinations are quite good enough, which, as said, were already operating since the 1920s, and to that also belong highly developed electronic weapons systems, futuristic flying discs, Earth humans who are hypnotically and surgically converted, as well as converted in their consciousness, to robots, whereby some have an appearance like the being which is called the Little Gray. On one hand, there is the dim-witted paradox that the extraterrestrial flying devices are denied and the strangers to Earth are made ridiculous or made out to be monsters by means of psychological propaganda, while, on the other hand, a financial exploitation of the peoples results through the inciting of angst, terror, hate, and revenge, and indeed thereby in that a simulation results in regard to a supposed threat from extraterrestrials. A paradox without compare, to which the question must be put: how far are the Earth humans imbued with reason and understanding that they do not recognize this paradox? The entire prearranged game of the group and their small groups, as already said elsewhere, also includes faked encounters with alleged extraterrestrials, whereby these are truly nothing other than normal Earth humans or those who have been transformed into aliens. In order then to affirm the improvised encounters with those foreign to Earth psychologists and other experts are pulled in, into whom the wildest stories are hammered for so long until they believe the entire swindle and nonsense and employ verifiable and genuine analyses which are recorded and published in books and documentation as well as in cinema and TV films. And since, as a rule, the supposed extraterrestrials are described as horrible villains, just according to the plan of the group and their small groups, the picture of the extraterrestrial threat is powerfully incited. Thereby, not only is the slandering in regard to the real strangers to Earth always more exaggerated, as also more and more finances flow into the cash box of those who stupidly and dim-wittedly earn as a result of the entire tissue of lies and slander, and thereby come by the means to reach their criminal goals. A certain part of the group has also fallen to a Christian sectarianism and to the supposed end times in such a way that hope is directed at a malicious invasion of extraterrestrials resulting on Earth, and thereby the prophesied Armageddon will become reality, in which Jesus Christ celebrates his official return and God the Father will exercise his judgment. Their delusion is therefore bound with a biblical end of the world, which, as they believe, rests on the terrible badness of the Earth humans. And in order to accelerate this divine judgment, as well as the return of Christ, they do everything in order to make the way free for that. The monstrous power of the worldwide group and their small groups, as well as the religious fanaticism, together with the cultic maintaining of the secret of the entire underhanded, degenerated, and deceptive, as well as criminal and felonious machinations, lead to malignant effects which could not be worse. These are the facts which I have to name in regard to your question.
Contact Report 443.
On the 17th of February 2005, Quetzal and I talked privately about the conspiracy books of various scribblers, such as Zacharias Sitchin, David Icke, Jan van Holy alias Jan van Helsing, as well as Andreas von Reti and others.
All in all, these kinds of nonsensical writings are commercially oriented to make the ruble roll, as you say, so that the scribblers, if I want to use your expression, can fill their pockets with money. The whole of all the conspiracy theories described in all the countless books are based on sheer nonsense, as are the writings in books containing supernaturalism and assertions about the alleged infiltration of earthly governments by extraterrestrials. Conspiracy theories of all kinds, as well as supernatural, occult, and esoteric nonsense, are in great demand among the believers in these drivel. In fact, all the many books of this kind are based on silliness, senselessness, folly, as well as blooming and higher nonsense, as you always say so aptly.
If you will allow me to interrupt, I have a few other terms for the whole thing, such as noble baloney, bullshit, hooey, stupidity and folly, torchlight, ridiculousness, simple-mindedness, gibberish, folly and folly, etc. I would also like to say that, with regard to all this nonsense, there are special bookstores which, for good money, bring the rubbish books among the people, from whom the roaring rubbish is eaten like hot cakes. With very many people on earth, the unreal, untrue, fantastic, occult, esoteric, religious, sectarian, supposedly supernatural, and supernatural is not only considered to be more than truth and reality, but effectively everything.
These are all good terms I will remember. And your explanation hits the truth. Furthermore, these humans are sectarian and esoteric, as well as occult and supernatural, and move in their thoughts and feelings, as well as in their delusional beliefs, in illusory worlds and other unreal imaginings. The entirety of this matter of faith and fantasies has developed into a delusion in them which already moves in schizophrenic forms, whereby they no longer perceive the truth and reality, and consequently also can no longer recognize it. And in this delusional form, they infiltrate the humans with their absurdities which they imagine, and also adopt them from other scribblers which you call abkupfern. Copying? Thereby the readers of the entire nonsense are seduced to believingly accept the lies. Slanders, the swindle and the fantasies of these irresponsible scribblers as truth, while they assess the reality and the real truth as unrealistic, unreal, and as untruth. Belief is just very much simpler than investigating the effective truth through one's own seeking and one's own cognitive work. Furthermore, the fantastic and illusory will sooner be accepted by the Earth humans than even the truth and reality which appears banal compared to the fantastic and illusory. Therefore, it is so that standing on the firm ground of the facts, truth and reality is prescribed, while the untruthful, fantastic, and illusory and all the swindling, lies, deceit and slander which is bound with it, which, since time immemorial, have always been booming business, affect the Earth humans like sweet balm which stills the delight and demand for that which is fantastic and illusory. So lying, swindle, falsehoods, deceit, and slander are means through which the human allows himself to be very easily beguiled, because everything is only swallowed and does not have to truthfully be contemplated, while the search for the effective truth and its processing is bound with very much effort and cognitive work, as well as with a sense for the recognition of reality. However, the irresponsible scribblers, who invent the crazy and unreal as well as unrealistic conspiracy theories, copy the entire nonsense from each other and throw everything to their believers as fodder, and therewith earn much money, know exactly that. That is also the case with the books of the hacks named by you who, without conscience, spread their horrendous nonsense of their dim-witted conspiracy theories and thereby lead their faithful readers into error, convey to them a completely wrong picture of the world, and hound them into angst and terror. The books named by you by David Icke, as well as, however, also the books of Zacharias Sitchin, Van Helsing, and of Retier, belong just as much in the realm of the nonsense and feeble-mindedness of illusory and fantasy-rich conspiracy theories, as also do other similar kinds of works, which, if I may use your words, must be labeled as sheer idiocy and schizophrenic delusional imaginings. Truthfully, from the complete contents there are no things at all to name which could be designated facts of truth and reality, because basically it deals with nothing other than freely invented fantasies and illusions, which are irresponsibly given a coating of truth in order to thereby take those Earth humans into their power who believe the dim-witted nonsense and allow themselves to be taken prisoner by it. From the entire exposition of all books of such a kind, no letter may be considered as true because everything is only built on deception. Lies, deceit, slander, fantasies, and illusions, which also applies to the supposed reptoid beings or reptilian humans. Such kinds of beings are pure inventions of the scribblers because they thereby connect the evil and want to thereby transmit the impression of the evil and diabolical, whereby the Earth humans are driven to angst and terror, which naturally again has its effect on the numbers of sales of the books and brings in great profit. Reptoid, respectively, reptilian beings, as these are described in the nonsensical books, exist even less in the entire universe than they do in other dimensions of this universe. So, however, also not on the Earth, also not in forms of transmuted humans. It also corresponds to a lie that such extraterrestrial beings, or other kinds, have lived on the Earth since time immemorial or since more recent times and are even active in the governments, because assertions which claim that it is true indeed correspond to the crazy fantasies, illusions, angsts, or conscious lies and slandering of the book scribblers. Yet in every regard believers do not, as a rule, let themselves be impressed by the truth. Rather, they faithfully remain in the prison which they themselves delusionally imagine, because that is simpler than having to grapple with the real truth. The truth is just simply and somehow banal, as you tend to say, for which reason it only addresses humans who consciously use their reason and understanding, while the others, who depend on the fantastic and illusory as well as that which pertains to belief, are not willing to free themselves from the nonsensical and the unreal as well as from their not making use of reason and understanding.
Contact Report 469.
3. Reptiloids are life forms of mixed human and reptilian form, their bodies being covered with scales.
The reptiloids, are they metamorphoses, beings that can change shape, like to pure humanoids?
No, they do not have that ability. But why do you ask?
The question refers to a nonsense, namely to a nonsense of a conspiracy theory that circulates in certain esoteric and other crazy conspiracy circles, about which crazy authors also write crazy books. Namely that, especially in the USA, the government cliques and other powerful people are supposed to be vicious alien reptiloids in Earth humanoid form. Of course, I know that this is absolute nonsense, as well as other morbid conspiracy theories that the various governments of the Earth are supposed to be contaminated with aliens. But a lot of money is made with such nonsense, because the stupid believers of such lies and conspiracy theories buy the rubbish and believe in it, and very many of them with fear and shudder, because they see only evil in everything. And with fear and evil, a lot of money can be earned on our Earth with the stupid believers.
These nonsense is as familiar to me as all the criminal and fraudulent practices of fear-mongering by the writers of such books and reports with nonsensical conspiracy theories.
The stupid and the faithful want to be deceived and duped because they cannot exist in the light of the truth, because the truth is too banal, not sensational enough, not exciting enough, and does not cause the fearful shudder that many human beings are addicted to.
A true word.
Contact Report 476.
Rubbishy conspiracy theories that corresponds to the reality and has nothing to do with alleged reptilians and baby eaters, which allegedly, as extraterrestrials transformed into human beings, or as cannibals, are supposed to sit in the governments and carry out their mischief, and so forth.
Contact Report 672. 20th Century Reptiloids. Reptiloids are human-like intelligent beings derived from reptiles or reptilian-like extraterrestrials. They had infiltrated the Earth and were part of a secret pyramid-like organizational structure. False. Contact Report 698.
But I would still be interested to know what you think of these people who always claim, lie and fantasize as busybodies and alleged UFO contactors and knowers, etc., that extraterrestrials, also so-called reptiloids, etc., would participate in governments on Earth without being recognized, which Ptah, Simya Say, and Quetzal, as well as Asket, denied.
Concerning your question about lying or confused claims that alleged Earth foreigners or extraterrestrials and reptiloids, etc., as you say, are active in earthly governments, our assessment corresponds to the fact that all these persons in their consciousness reality are addicted to disorders of mind and reason, as well as to the need for self-portrayal, but they also have delusions and also show strong tendencies to lie. Many are also pathologically out of touch with reality and therefore do not orient themselves to reality and truth, but to hallucinations, fantasies, illusions, self-deceptions, sensory illusions, and mirages that are out of touch with reality. Many simply allow themselves to be influenced and guided by lies and deceptions, and as a result of their own ignorance, weakness of intelligence, and inability to cultivate their own clear thoughts and reflections, fall prey to a stupid faith, as is also the case with any belief in God.